But if I can start off by saying the last few days has just been déjà vu. It's been unbelievable, just all those memories. And it actually started with a couple of fires that have happened now as this fire season starts, both in residential areas, but then of course in rural kind of spaces as well. But then of course I was in Knysna when the tragedy happened with losing one of our key pilots who we all know so very, very well. And then of course this fire getting worse and having the loss of life again. These tragedies are really shocking, and sincere condolences obviously to all of those families. But yeah, déjà vu, here we are in the middle of the Garden Route again. And I think key was your point raised around forestry. Were quite, they were looking at saying, well, as soon as it hits the indigenous forest, that fire should go out. And we've always known that to be the case in the past years. But that just shows how long this drought has actually been here in the region, and the severity of that drought, because indigenous forest is now burning like crazy. And but I think first of all, there's always the heroes, which are the guys that are fighting the fires, and we can really be proud of the team. You say over 500 people here, and that's really great. I think one thing that we can be proud of in this province is the response time of people that risk their lives to go out and mitigate this risk in our system. And but also I've been watching social media and looking at the thousands of volunteers and I think I think we've got to become best practice when it's talking about our firefighters and the teams. But now we've almost got best practice public here, because people just get out there and they just do it. They bring stuff. And that's really been amazing. And I think we really must commend the public on how they've really jumped up and really helped everybody. And I was really watching yesterday I had to report to Parliament, and it was like one of those things, I really don't want to be in Parliament right now, I want to be here. And you sort of like watch this unfolding and remotely. And that really, it was something that was amazing to see the public and how they reacted. People were being evacuated, put into halls, there was efficiency. I saw a tweet from one of our public reps in the region to say, it was like late last night, 11 o'clock, she says, everyone's all tucked up, tight in bed, everyone's looked after, I'm going home now. And you think, wow, it's amazing. And you watch the teams of people making sandwiches and just stepping up the donations coming in. And of course I think we need to make sure we keep that going. We've also set a benchmark in this area where victims of fires really are looked after in this traumatic time in their lives. So thank you very much to the volunteers, and then also to the public reps, to the politicians in the area, both those that are responsible from their office, like the mayors that are around me, but also those public reps that are just councillors. They are in there with their communities, busy helping with evacuations 24 hours a day, 18 hours a day. And that's really valuable that the system works. So I think from that side also I have a big thank you. As we said, we almost did this in reverse. I'm now going to go to the jock. Again, it's unbelievable, the déjà vu. I remember arriving at that jock in the Knysna fires. I drove at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and arrived here at this jock, and you kind of. And I remember, but I think the most important point, and a point that you ended with, Gerard, is that the teams are out there, because I still remember with those fires on the Friday evening, everybody said, okay guys, it's done. And I still got back in my car and went back to Cape Town to go and fetch my children from wherever we dropped them off at. And I got back to Cape Town, and the next day I drove back here again and was here for many days. And of course that risk is here. As we were flying in today and looking out, and today because of the wind we didn't land from Cape Town. Coming in from the Cape Town side, we actually flew out towards Knysna, came this way. And if you just look across that landscape, it's just hundreds of little plumes of smoke coming out everywhere. So of course that risk is there. We've all got to be totally vigilant, and I remember all of the messages about the wind, and luckily it's much cooler today. We always try and get ahead of this as quickly as possible. But for the next few weeks we're going to be under severe pressure, and it's only the start of summer. I can confidently say that from a disaster management point of view, we budget more and we have a very, very efficient team. But when you ask the question about lessons learned, and yeah, I mean, it's a tragedy every time anyone's life is lost when these things happen, and how do we prevent those? I mean, I would have to look at the analytics once we've finished, is why can we not evacuate quickly enough? And you heard about mass evacuation that happened in this process, but what happened? How do you not just get to one family when a fire is coming? And for someone who, before the Knysna fires, you would have thought, well, it's not possible. It's, you can see, you can smell, you can hear when a fire comes. It makes a noise. It smells. And still people are caught. And,
yeah, exactly.
And how do you mitigate that? I mean, one of the mechanisms, and I'm just trying to think how the number. I can't remember the number of the thousands of those little fire detectors that are being rolled out. In actual fact, I was speaking to all of the mayoral leadership of the West Coast on Saturday, and I took one of those fire detectors with me and said, we need to have more of these rolled out. I mean, I am. We've had this loss of life, but when that fire happened in Khayelitsha, in Silvertown, I am amazed that, again, we had a loss of life, but a loss of life. When these fires happen specifically at night time, they happen so quickly, especially when a wind blows, that you don't get that warning. And we need to start making sure we roll out these kind of fire detectors. I'm pretty certain that we are way ahead of where we were before the Knysna fires, and I think the dispatching of buses, getting people into halls out of the risks way as quickly as possible, is something that we have learned. One of the other things which is not as sort of like life-threatening in your face as evacuations is communications. Now I believe again, and especially in rural areas where you're relying on towers for communication, how do we bring in temporary communication, especially as people are moving reliance of communication onto basic systems like mobile. And as soon as those towers go down, because those towers are in the forest, etc., you lose communication. That's an issue that we really need to talk about. It happened at Knysna, and now it's happened again. How do we mitigate that? But that's a discussion. I don't think government can budget for that.
Sure.
Because that'll be a lot of money. But we need to talk to the providers, service providers, to say, can we not find a partnership way that we can keep communications going when this happens? Or maybe we've got to have a disaster management specialist communication system put up. I mean, with the management system themselves can communicate, but how do we get public to link into it?